Hello everybody, this is Munchy Mollusk, formerly known as Bizarre Bobcat, and today I thought I'd make a little video about the mod Amethyst Imbuement. It's a pretty fun mod. I've been playing on a roleplay server recently, and that's been my character's sort of main mod, but the one issue I have with it is that there are no, video tutorials, so everything about the mod is found within the book that you get when you spawn in the world. This book right here. My cat's here. Hi, Simon. So, while this book is pretty useful, sometimes it does get a little bit confusing, and I know I personally I personally learn better with videos, so I just thought I'd make a little video. So I did write down some steps. So this is my general idea of what I'm hopefully going to talk about. So to start off, you're going to need to make an imbuing table, which is this right here. Let me actually grab my tome from my backpack really quick. We'll leave that there for now. So to start off, you're gonna need to make an imbuing table. So it does use an enchanting table, but fear not, because you can still enchant with this table. So you're not really losing an enchanting table, it's more so like you're giving it some extra use. So if you wanted to enchant normally, you would put your lapis there, then your book or your weapon there, and then the enchantments would show up on the side, so you're not really losing that. So once you craft that, then the next step would be... Oh, hold on. There you go. So once you get the imbuing table, the next step would be to make an experience farm. And that can be time consuming, so instead I would recommend making an experience bush farm. So these are crafted like so, and when you click on them after they've grown, they do drop balls of enchanting, so you can use those to make more. So it is relatively cheap. The sweet berries you just find, balls of enchanting you just find, but if you do not, or if you cannot find them, there is a recipe for them that you can make with the imbuing table, so fear not. And then you do need something called danbarite to craft this, but it does have a really cheap and relatively inexpensive recipe. Just need some nether quartz, bone meal, and daisies, and it only costs 1 level to create, so it is relatively cheap. So I would definitely recommend doing an experienced bush farm as opposed to a normal mob farm. I guess they could both be useful, but I kind of just prefer this one. Just because, I don't know, I like plants, but yeah, and you can walk on them and it doesn't hurt you. So yeah, you're gonna need a lot of experience, and with this one, you can kind of put it anywhere, where mob farms kind of have to be in very specific locations if you're doing one with a spawner. So I would recommend that for convenience, and also because it gives you a lot of experience. So after creating that, actually let me see, hold on, a bit laggy. Okay, so once you have your imbuing table and an experience farm, then you can start making the trinkets, totems, weapon upgrades, armor upgrades, and scepters. But first, let's go over some important gems. So, the vanilla ones that you'll mostly need are amethyst shards, as well as nether quartz, which if you have fortune, they're relatively easy to get. And then actually, a fun fact is that when you mine quartz in the nether, these will drop, which you can craft, but I haven't really needed to because I just get them from mining quartz. And then most of the other gems you'll need, you could get through trading, or they do have recipes. You would just click on them with the book and it would bring it up. All of them are relatively inexpensive, so that should be pretty easy. Let me see. There are some rarer gems that you will need to travel for, such as, where is it? Tiger's Eye, which spawns rarely in, I found it in Basalt Deltas. I haven't found it in veins of Basalt or Blackstone. I mostly just found it in the Basalt Delta, so that one might be tricky. And then Heartstones are only attainable in loot chests, but I think you can get it from fishing. Those two are kind of used in specific recipes, so just important to note that those two are a bit harder to get. Moonstone's also a bit expensive. You do need prismarine, so I would recommend looting a ocean temple, but you don't have to worry about that now. That's like later stuff. Yeah, so to get started, definitely get some quartz and amethyst. And now we could talk about trinkets. So I do have quite a few trinkets. They are equipped in these slots. Each of them can give a certain bonus. And to craft them, you will need... Let me look. Let me take a look. I think I do have some in here. Yes. So you will first need to make copper ones, and then you can upgrade them with the table. So these are crafted using beryllium copper. There you go. Which is crafted like so. And these, you cannot put imbuments on them, but they do give you speed, which is pretty nice. And if you would like to imbue them, you need this recipe right here in the table. This, let me see, this slot can be changed to pretty much anything. And I believe there is a page. Let me see if I can find it. It's kind of tricky to find. Guide. Oh, here we go. So the item at the bottom, depending on what it is, it will give you certain things. So Tiger's Eye is knockback. The one I did for all of mine is Opal, which gives you movement speed. I like being fast, so that's what I did. But yeah. So do pay attention when putting... let me see. Where'd the page go? Let me just get it back. Yeah, so do pay attention to this item, because it will change what effect your unimbued, imbued thing gives you. So the main perk of these is that you can... Let me see. Is that you could give them different effects, which are done like so. You can ward off creepers. You can get immunity to all negative effects, which is very nice. There's basically like infinite possibilities. Well, it is limited, but you know what I mean. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that goes over. Let me see. That goes over trinkets. So just make the beryllium one, and then you could upgrade it, and then you can put imbuments on it. And then totems, which I do have quite a few of. You can stack different ones on top of each other, but I just like having mine like that. So for totems, let me see. There is a section on it. I could just look at that really quick. Yeah, so you need a heart of the sea, and you make it into a golden heart. And these, I am playing in a world that has a border, so it can be kind of scary because these are very limited, but you can get them through trading with piglins. So that's important to note that these, even if you have limitations in your world, you can still get them. So once you get that, you would imbue it. Kind of expensive, but it will be worth it. Into a crystalline heart. And then you could craft a Totem of Amethyst with it. Let me get the recipe for that. Just showing you really quick. This is not early game stuff, but yeah. Craft it like so, and then get a totem. And then with the totem, you can imbue it with different effects. Same thing with the jewelry. Some augments are you're able to put on like both. Like these ones can be put on either like jewelry or totems. But some are specific to like certain types of jewelry. Like this one you can only put on an amulet. And something like this you can only put on a totem. So just do keep note of that. But yeah, so once you get your totem, you can imbue it. All kinds of different things. Very useful. I'll show you guys what I use. I have immunity, which gives me immunity to all kinds of negative effects. And then I have healthy, which gives me 2 extra hearts, which is good because we're playing with origins, and my origin gives me -2. So with this, I'm back to full health. And then I have this one, which gives me Moonlit, which gives me, I believe it's strength and speed at night. And then this one makes it friendly, makes it so that way piglins and endermen do not get mad at you. And then this one, Consecrated, gives me Blessing. That one is a passive one. Oh, wait, I should probably talk about that. There are passive and active augments. So this one, for example, is a passive one, so you just constantly have the Blessed effect. This one is an active one. So right now you can see it's currently active, but it doesn't lose durability unless I'm actively on fire. So if I am on fire, the durability will go down, kind of like here. You can see that there is a durability bar, but I can show you how to repair that. This one is also passive, and I believe in my backpack. Yeah, I do have some more active ones. Oh, I thought I would click on it. Such as Escape, which has 3 uses. But do not worry, there is an easy way to repair totems and other magical items, and that is through mana potions. So, let me see. Mana potions are crafted like so. This is another reason why I would recommend having experience bush farm as opposed to a normal mob farm. Because the bushes do give you bottles, and those are used to make mana potions, which are very important if you're gonna do magic. And by magic, I mean like spells and whatnot. And also like repairing your trinkets and stuff. So that's another reason why I would recommend a bush farm as opposed to like a mob farm. But as you can see, my headband did ward off an effect earlier, so it is a little bit, the durability is a little bit down. But if I do drink a potion, I'll just drink one, for example. As you can see, it's back to normal. So in order to like heal any items, for example, I'm not going to get into scepters right now, but when you use a scepter, the durability does go down a little bit. It will go up over time. I believe it's the same thing with headbands and totems. But if you want to heal it immediately, or if you're using like a lot of spells, or if there's like a lot of negative effects, you can just drink a potion and it'll restore it for you. Okay. So what have I gone over so far? Let me look. We did Imbuing table. You guys know how to make that. We went over the types of farms. Definitely do a berry farm. Would recommend. Some gems, some trinkets, some totems. Let's talk about weapons. So the mod does add something called garnet. Look at my other book. As you can see, my tools are not netherite. They are garnet tools. And what garnet does... Let me see. This is how you imbue garnet. And you could basically just use it like netherite. It doesn't give added like attack or anything, but what it does do is it extends the durability by a lot. So it's, I don't believe you could upgrade these to netherite. It's kind of like a side thing to netherite. But if you want really durable tools, I would recommend garnet. And then also, let me take a look. The mod does add something that's basically netherite too, which is, let's see if I can find it, amethyst. So it is very expensive. It's basically netherite too. You would put it on your armor the same way as you do netherite, and you do need to upgrade netherite armor to amethyst. But it's very good. Would definitely recommend if you're like full netherite, need something to do, might as well just go to amethyst. Give you some extra protection, extra knockback. Would recommend. And then let me see what else. Oh yeah, the scepter. So besides trinkets and totems and like small upgrades, the main thing that the mod adds is spells. So spells are a little bit confusing. So to start off, okay, how am I gonna explain this in a way that makes sense? The book does a relatively good job at explaining scepters and whatnot, But to get started, you're going to need to craft an opaline scepter. And then with opal, you could craft it like this. But what I do is I just buy it from villagers. There is a villager added with the mod. Let me go take a look. I'll show you. But the mod does add a new villager. They do spawn naturally in villages. But once they reach a certain level, they can offer you opal. So that's how I get my opal. Let's see. There we go. Yep. 9 emeralds for 1 opal. So I would recommend just doing that. Also, if you don't want to make beryllium, you could just use, you could just buy headbands. That's what I did for some of my tools. If you don't want to go through the process of making beryllium copper, you could just buy them from villagers. So villagers would be pretty useful to have. Let me see. Yeah, but you could use the opal that you either craft or obtain from a villager to make a scepter. And then this is gonna be your basically beginner scepter. So I only have 1 active spell on this one. So let me show you. Let's see. So let me find this section that has spells. Spells. Let me see. Okay, so while you're traveling the world, you'll probably find these books. And when you click on them, they'll give you a recipe for a spell. So for example, let's look at Summon Chicken. And if you click on these, they'll tell you everything you need. So they'll tell you the level that your scepter needs to be to put this on your scepter. The type of tier, because different scepters are different tiers. So this is a tier 1. And then once you upgrade it, you get a tier 2. And then there's a final upgrade that's tier 3 that I don't even have yet. Because I think most of the ones I want to do are tier 2. So I'm not too worried about that. But, yeah, so there are 3 tiers. A common mistake that I made was that when you upgrade your opaline scepter, it doesn't immediately go to a tier 2. This is still technically a tier 1. So the first jump in scepters in the upgrade tree is usually still a tier 1. Just thought I'd say that because I was trying to put like tier 2 spells on this when it didn't work. So, let's see. So to start off, I would put basic spells on your scepter. The one I have currently... Okay, you know what? Hold on. I need to think of a way to explain this because it is very confusing. So, as you can see, there's the name of your scepter, the active spell, and then the levels that your scepter currently is. There's 3 levels. There's Fury, Grace, and Wit, and each spell corresponds with a different type of like magic. So the spell Summon Hamster is Wit. So as you can see, once I cast it, there you go, summon that little hamster. You can see that the number went from 33 to 23. So once you cast a spell, it gives you XP to level up your wit, or like the type of I guess like school. I don't really know what to call them. The type of school that corresponds with like the spell you did. And then here's my let me put this one back. So here's my scepter that I actually use. As you can see, I have a lot of spells on it, and the more you cast a spell, the higher a level you'll get. My spells I would recommend are definitely Dash. That's the one I currently have equipped. It basically gives you Riptide all the time, whenever you want, which is very fun. I could also summon Fireworks, regenerate health, summon zombies, summon chickens. There's basically infinite possibilities. I can mend my equipment, which is pretty handy. Lots of spells. Lots of spells. It is quite confusing. I don't really know how to explain it that well. But what you need to know, or I guess the most important things I would tell you to start off with spells, is that certain spells correlate with either Fury, Grace, or Wit. When you cast them, your Wit, Fury, or Grace will go up. and then the more you cast a spell, the higher of a level that spell will become. So something like Soul Missile, which I've never used, doesn't have any, or it's like still like level 1 or 0. Where Dash, which I do a lot, is 3. Weightlessness, which I do a lot, is 5. And then some zombies, like, I don't know what that is, 13. So yeah. I think that's pretty good. Not hopefully this was helpful in helping you get started. What I would recommend... You know what, actually, let's just go over this. Okay, let's do a little summary, because I know I tend to ramble, and I'm probably not the best at explaining things. So, to start off, imbuing table. Crafted with an enchanting table, and you can still use it as an enchanter, and this is vital to doing anything with the mod. And then you need an EXP farm. I would recommend berries, which you could craft using the mod in the imbuing table, or like a mob farm. And then there are many gems you could use. Gems are very important to crafting and like imbuing items. Quartz as well as amethyst are the like primary vanilla ones. So definitely get those when you can. Everything else, the book tells you how to craft them or where to find them. And then what's next? Trinkets. You make the beryllium, copper headbands, amulets, and rings. And then you could upgrade those. You could also buy these from villagers. And you upgrade them, and then you could imbue them with certain effects. Totems are similar. You craft them with the Heart of the Sea. You turn a Heart of the Sea into a golden heart, and then you turn that into a totem. There are a few other steps that I'm not going to summarize. And then you could imbue totems the same way you can imbue these. Give them special effects. And then weapons, you could upgrade to Garnet, which extends durability, but doesn't really do anything else besides that. I should have mentioned, there is also a Trident upgrade, which you could deal 12 attack damage with a Trident now, which is very good. Would definitely recommend this upgrade. And then armor, you could go past Netherite and do Ametrine, which is basically Netherite 2. Would recommend that. I will say there are also a few imbuments you could do to weapons as well as armor. Those are detailed in the book right here. Let's see. Equipment. Yeah, so these can go on equipment, and these can go on weapons. Thought I'd mention that really quick. And then, what else is left? Armor, yep, Ametrine, Scepter and spells. That's very confusing. I might make a separate video on that, because if I would explain that, it would take a while. But yeah. Yeah, that's basically Amethyst and Imbuement. I hope this was a little bit helpful. Sorry if I rambled a lot. I might try and make a better video that explains it, but I hope I did an okay job. Thank you for watching.